Hello and welcome. My name is Michaela Vera, and this is my presentation on analyzing Arizona's language development approach. When it comes to addressing the overall language development approach that the state of Arizona holds, it is important for us to understand what type of demographic of students that we are serving. For example, the main demographic of students that are considered ELs or ELLs are students who are English learners or English language learners. This means students who do not speak English or they have another native language besides English. If they are proficient in one or more Native American languages, they're not considered an English language learner. Basically, this means that students who come from a different country or may have a different home language and do not speak English as their primary first language would be considered English language learners. This is defined in House Bill 2313 by the state of Arizona. When accounting for English language learners, we must understand their backgrounds or demographic or home language even in order to accommodate these students properly. Research data has shown us that only 28 districts out of all of the state of Arizona did not have any English language learners. However, this is small compared to their total number of districts. For the 2021 to 2022 school year, there were over 200 reported school districts in total, which was reported by the State of Arizona's school report card, meaning that out of those 200 districts, only 28 did not have any EL students. The predominant demographic would be considered Hispanic, since the predominant language that was spoken amongst EL students was Spanish, which accounted for 73.3% of English language learners in the state of Arizona. This amounts to a total of 56,689 students throughout the state of Arizona. The other 26.7% accounts for students who spoke either Arabic, Vietnamese, Navajo, Somali, or other languages. The best way to support these students or English language learner students is through SEI. Now, SEI is short for Structured English Immersion, which is modeled after thorough research practices and data collection to see what practices or techniques will best support student learning. This requires teachers to be accredited and endorsed through ESL, English as a Second Language, BLE, Bilingual Education, or SEI Model Practice or Training. This also means that teachers are proficient enough in the student's native or home language where students are able to communicate in their native language for clarification if needed during instruction, but the instructor is to speak only in English and implement English as well. There are other models that could be used to help promote students' proficiency in language. However, one model that is different from the Structured English Immersion is called the Sheltered English Instruction. Now, Sheltered English Instruction caters more to the English level that English language learners are at. They are taught at their own level of proficiency rather than trying to force them into a curriculum that may glaze over them and their needs. This is taught by a merely content license instructor with no additional secondary language or bilingual accreditation required. This instruction does emphasize a focus on the content in the class, but also has been seen to help improve English language development. There are 4 principles to be considered which are required by the state of Arizona for their language development approach. Principle 1 addresses how LEAs must create opportunities for families to be involved in their students' progress towards English proficiency. This also ensures that educators are to present content and help these students towards language development at proper levels and align correctly to ELP standards while building on their background knowledge. Principle 2 is regarded as how instructors are to relay instruction. This is implemented through scaffolded instruction to help towards language development, accounts for their minutes of instruction, interactions with non-ELL students in the classroom, and occurs within multiple areas of content instruction. These are all used to help students develop better content knowledge, academic language, and overall autonomy. Principle 3 directly addresses the English support that students will be receiving in class to help them engage in their studies. This focuses on explicit language instruction in English while also monitoring the required progress as well as maintaining their structured time needed for their grade level. Students will also experience times of collaboration between their other English learner peers as well. The instructor must also be an SEI, ESL, or BLE endorsed to provide this type of instruction, and may also use software to help assist students independently or in groups so long as it supports the instruction. Principle 4 is what is used in order to help measure students' progression for English language learners. This involves making use of English language proficiency standards, analyzing and gathering the data collected from these tests, and then basing any future instructional changes upon the data and research founded by such assessments. What is student agency? Student agency is defined as helping students advocate for their own independence and autonomy in the classroom, meaning allowing them opportunities to take control of their learning. The 4 principles, such as asset-based behaviors and expectations, integrated instruction and disciplinary language and content, targeted and explicit language instruction, and assessment monitoring and feedback, are all used to help support overall student learning and autonomy in English. Each aspect of the 4 principles is pertinent to help students develop their language proficiency, which will help them move forward for overall classroom engagement. The scaffolded instruction techniques also help improve their proficiency as students begin to adapt and learn the language more and more, providing them opportunities to become more independent. Student agency for EL students overall aims to support students becoming independent and autonomous in English. There are multiple SEI model approaches to choose from. This first model is known as the newcomer method. This is designed for foreign students who may have come from a different country or are new to the United States and are considered emergent in their English language learner skills. Their overall proficiency is determined by the AZELA assessment, also known as the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment. However, this isn't explicit for them and them alone. Targeted and integrated instruction is anywhere from 120 to 100 minutes daily, where they are only grouped with other English language learner students or EL students. This focuses on their developmental language primarily, that is used within school to help them understand content areas and their community, as well as helping them learn language to disclose within their community as well. This type of method also includes clear entry and exit data to help students measure their progress and realize when they are no longer required to be in this type of learning environment and possibly can move to something more advanced. The 50-50 dual language immersion model aims to support students not only in English but in their home language as well. In order to begin this type of instruction, students are required to submit a bilingual waiver consented by their parent or guardian. This essentially means that the parents or guardians are agreeing to a different type of instruction to be offered to their student other than English language education. Students then spend anywhere from 30 to 25 minutes a day with EL students only, and then the rest of their day is with EL and non-EL students. This approach is considered 50-50 because half of their day is going to be taught to them in English, while the other half of their day is in their home or native language. However, some have considered this to be a contradictory practice because of Prop 203. According to Tom Horn, which is the state school administrator for Arizona, believes that making use of this model can pose potential risks for losing funding for schools, as it is considered contradictory since students are to be taught in English and in English-only classrooms, as according to Prop 203. The pull-out model quite literally addresses students who are pulled out of class for their targeted instruction. For example, targeted and integrated instruction are both 60 to 50 minutes daily, meaning that 60 minutes of the day is spent with targeted and then the other 60 is spent integrated, or 50 minutes is spent targeted or 50 minutes is spent integrated. For kindergarten through 5th graders, this comes out to about 300 minutes weekly, and for 6th through 12th graders, this is 250 minutes weekly. During their targeted times, students are pulled out from their class to work with other English language learner students, and during their integrated time, they work with English language learner students and non-English learner students. And then the rest of their day is simply taught in English. The last model example we have here is the 2-hour model, where instead the targeted instruction is emphasized and focused on, which comes out to their full allotted 2 minutes. And those first 2 hours during the targeted instruction consists of only English language learner students. Weekly for kindergarten through 5th grade students, this is 600 minutes. And for 6th through 12th grade students, this comes out to 500 minutes. And then typically after this, for integrated instruction, only one content area is required at least for this, meaning that integrated instruction must only occur for one content area, meaning it could be science, math, English, or social studies that day, just depending on however the instructor decides to break down the schedule. During this, students are also grouped with non-English language learners for this as well. And then lastly, here are my references. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, and I would be more than happy to answer them. Thank you, and have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.